You've had your 4 calls. Now, Honourable Jonathan Cole.
Mr Chair, look, that was a very interesting dissertation there from Mr Mallard, trying to tie the public up in all the intricacies, all the detail to make this sound like some morass. But look, the fact is the Select Committee did their work, the officials have done a very good job on this, and what we've got here is something completely consistent with the government's approach to public services. Chris Hipkins, he talked about plans for the public service. What I can tell you, under Labor, there was a plan for the public service. It was to grow it bigger and bigger, year by year, sink more and more money into it. And what happened? Nothing. We didn't get any real meaningful outcomes that meant something to the average person in the street in New Zealand. So the government's approach around this has been to get public services focused on things that matter to New Zealanders. And within that, we've got to provide better public services within a constrained fiscal environment. Trevor Mallard, he talked about so-called inconsistency on the part of Peter Dunn around this issue. I mean, it wasn't like Mr Dunn did something like spoke out against Sky City when he's in the Parliament, then supported them when he was in the corporate box at the Rugby World Cup final. It wasn't like he did anything like that. But no, it's one rule for people over there, one rule for the rest of the people. But look, when you look at what's happening overall with this Charities Commission situation, the functions are going to remain. And I can understand that people in the charities sector could be concerned with any change. People don't like change, and they've had a situation which they've got used to, they've been comfortable with for a long time. But when you look at the wider situation, what we've got to do across the public sector as a whole, it's about actually making some sensible changes that get some efficiencies made and get greater functionality of what we've got there. So we'll have this 3-person board. The New Zealand First member down there, he was worried about independence, questioning, frankly, I think some of these members have been questioning the independence of the Department of Internal Affairs. What I can tell you is the officials are very used to handling this sort of situation. They've done it with the Gambling Commission, the Registrar of Births, Deaths and Marriages. There is extensive experience there, and the registration and the deregistration function, that will be handled by that 3-person board. The CE of DIA, his staff, they will provide the secretarial function. So the key message here to the public is, look, the functions of the Charities Commission are going to remain. It's just going to be within a different entity. Life will go on. Charities will continue to play a vital role in New Zealand society. Don't be scared by these people over here, because they are trying to seize on a political issue in difficult times for them and turn it into something that scares people out there. The reality is, it's quite simple. It's very consistent with the wider plan around the public sector to make sure that things are working far more efficiently, that we're getting some outcomes that actually make a difference for people. Mr Mallard also got, I think, very confused about costs as opposed to benefits of this, and he was citing costs of $2 million. Well, actually, they're the benefits. The cost of setting up this board is probably going to be about $400,000. So overall, it's going to be a net positive. So the message is really the functionality remains. We've actually strengthened the education function. Strengthen that. This is actually going to end up being a better server of the original purpose of the Charities Commission overall, with that strengthened education function. So there are many positives that will come out of this. Not the least, though, the points that needs to be made is that one around independence. The New Zealand First member also said, oh look, you know, the Charities Act review is just around the corner, it's just about to happen. Why don't you wait for that? Well, in actual fact, it's not happening until 2015. I guess that's progress in reforming the public sector New Zealand First style. The reality is we need to act on this now. Nothing that will happen in that review of the Charities Act will be precluded by these changes which the government are putting forward and wanting to pass into law. So no one needs to be worried about that. Look, the Charities Act review will still happen, but these changes will happen in advance. And quite frankly, they are sensible changes. And I can tell you, you go out into the streets of New Zealand, people will still find that the charity sector is working very, very well. I was a bit disappointed by the New Zealand First member's knowledge of the bill, but, you know, he hasn't been here for that long and will have time to study this bill at leisure in time to come. So, Mr Chair, Part 3 is actually a very good piece of legislation, and I commend it to the House.
Ian.